Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia back here with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Cody Rhodes' return Nixed, real reason why WWE didn't push Keith Lee, Bobby Lashley returning for WrestleMania, Ronda Rousey character tweaked by Vince McMahon, WWE Hall of Famer arrested, plus much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now, let's hit the intro and get on to our first story. Cody Rhodes' WWE return Nixed? Our top story today looks at some doubt in relation to whether or not Cody Rhodes is on his way back to WWE. Cody has hit headlines over the past few weeks after he announced his departure from AEW. It was then reported that Cody may be returning to WWE, which was certainly a move nobody saw coming. A new report from Fightful Select states that things have been rather quiet in relation to Cody coming to WWE. It's being reported that those in WWE are careful to say if Cody Rhodes comes in and if Cody Rhodes pops up. The report adds that they haven't heard of any creative plans for Cody as of yet, and this heavily implies that Cody's return hasn't been finalized yet, and that there is progress to be made. There were rumors that Cody was set for a WrestleMania program, but with Cody still not back in the company, Cody's WrestleMania status remains up in the air. We do know that Vince McMahon loves the idea of having Cody back in the company, and this is likely to heavily influence how his return is booked. Cody took to Instagram last weekend to reveal that he was enjoying his retirement, so there's certainly a possibility that Cody takes some time away from the ring before deciding his next career move. Do you think Cody should rejoin WWE, or do you think he should look at other options? Let us know in the comments below. Real reason WWE didn't push Keith Lee. Keith Lee had a disappointing run on the main roster, and he was yet another example of an NXT talent failing to impress Vince McMahon once they received the nod to appear on either Raw or SmackDown. According to Lee himself during an appearance on Busted Open Radio, one of the reasons that he didn't receive a substantial push was because people in WWE had an issue with the way he spoke. Lee added, "Listen, it's something that Mark Henry and I talked about years ago. Maybe I think I was still in NXT at the time. He knows I'm open to that, especially since in that particular place, WWE, most people had an issue with the way I speak and my demeanor and how I speak and my cadence. I don't know what it's about. Maybe my voice or maybe it's vocal tone, whatever it may be, was a bit of an issue there. If it ever becomes an issue, I'm sure that Mark could take the reins. The guy is very versatile with his microphone skills." Lee made his AEW debut a few weeks ago, and fans of Lee are hoping that Tony Khan uses the former NXT champion in a meaningful manner. Lee is now set to take part in the Face of the Revolution ladder match at the Revolution pay-per-view on March 6th. Bobby Lashley aiming for WrestleMania 38 comeback. The WrestleMania 38 match card is still unknown, and according to WrestleVotes, the card is still in a case of flux, and all matches could drastically change before WrestleMania takes place. One huge factor in these plans could be former WWE champion Bobby Lashley. Lashley was written off WWE TV at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view with a shoulder injury. Lashley is expected to be out for at least 4 months, but Lashley is actually aiming to be back in time for WrestleMania or even the Madison Square Garden show that is due to take place on March 5th. This latest report comes from Ringside News, and it does seem unrealistic that Lashley will be fit and healthy by the time WrestleMania takes place, but obviously, we're not fully aware of the extent of Lashley's injury. If Lashley is medically cleared to return by WrestleMania, it's a possibility that WWE may look to give Lashley a featured match. After all, he wasn't pinned in the Elimination Chamber match, and he certainly deserves another match for the WWE title. SmackDown sets attendance record. WWE, in particular SmackDown, is doing great business at the moment. This week's edition of SmackDown was a legitimate sellout, and it even set a brand new attendance record. SmackDown took place at the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and SmackDown was the highest attended event in the history of the arena. This is a fantastic achievement, and you can expect WWE to boast about this in the weeks to come. Hilarious segment goes down after SmackDown. Speaking of this week's SmackDown, a humorous moment took place after the show had taken place. The dark match main event saw a 6-man tag match between Drew McIntyre and the Viking Raiders taking on the Bloodline. The match took a sudden break when the crowd began to chant "Walrus" at Paul Heyman. This resulted in Universal Champion Roman Reigns going to comfort his manager by giving him a hug. Dark match comedic character interactions between Heyman and Reigns have been common in recent weeks, and both men seem to enjoy having fun with entertaining post-match shenanigans. Ronda Rousey character change ordered by Vince McMahon. Ronda Rousey made her grand return to WWE at the Royal Rumble last month. Although it was great to see Ronda back in WWE as she adds a sense of legitimacy to the women's division, fans were rather confused in relation to her presentation. At the Rumble, the former Raw Women's Champion was presented as a heel, and she even cut a scathing promo against the fans backstage. However, when Ronda came out on Raw the next night, she was a full-blown babyface. It was clear that WWE were still working on what they wanted Ronda's latest character to be, and according to Ronda herself, Vince made the direct order that she needed to smile more. During an episode of Ronda on the Road, Ronda discussed her Raw appearance, and she revealed, "I got through it and I came out and Heyman was like, 'You did great, but I'm going to tell you, he's going to tell you one thing, he's going to tell you to smile.' I'm like, okay. So I went and talked to Vince. He was like, 'That was fantastic, just, you need to smile.'" This was clearly when WWE decided that Ronda was going to be a babyface moving forward and would consequently challenge Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania. It was reported this weekend that the Ronda vs. Charlotte match is planned to be the main event of Night 1 of WrestleMania. Fan reception to this report has been rather negative, as there doesn't appear to be much of a desire to see the match, and fans would much rather see Bianca Belair vs. Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title main event Night 1 of the show. What match would you like to see main event Night 1 of WrestleMania? Let us know in the comments below. WWE Hall of Famer arrested. WWE Hall of Famer Sunny has yet again been arrested. This marks the second time WWE's first diva has been arrested this year alone. Sunny was arrested on February 26th for a number of driving offenses, and she is set to appear in court on March 10th of this year. John Cena to work with The Rock on a new project? Our final story today takes a look at the possibility of John Cena and The Rock working together outside the world of pro wrestling. Both Cena and The Rock made the transition from WWE to Hollywood in the best way, and both have become huge names outside of WWE. Both are currently in the DC Comics universe, as Cena plays Peacemaker, whilst Rock plays Black Adam. This has led fans to wanting to see both former WWE champions share the screen as their respective heroes. Cena was asked in a recent interview with People magazine about if he has a desire to work with The Rock, and his comments certainly opened the doors to this exciting prospect. Cena revealed, "I'll say the same thing every time with possibilities in the sort of universe. It would be an honor and a privilege to be able to perform with him. I think there is still a passionate marketplace that wants to see him in, but I'm sorry man, that's just not my choice, so I don't know. It's so far beyond me, it's beyond what I'm able to control." There you have it, folks, the wildest news, stories, and rumors you need to know. Don't forget to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time back for some more wrestling content.